Welcome back. It is time for our final top 16 match of the day. We've had 3 fantastic finalists already find their way into the top 8, and now it is time to find one more. My name's Cora, and joining me for the final cast of the day is going to be Falcone and Lorinda. Guys, it's coming down to Teebs versus Tars. I know you two have been following Tars throughout the entirety of this tournament, ever since we saw him in the very first streamed match, and we all said, oh, Druid's gonna get banned. Everybody's gonna ban Druid. And he said, wrong. I shan't ban Druid, nor shall I ban Priest. Instead, I will ban Warrior. And he has stuck to that strategy throughout the entire tournament, finished 6-3, but had some of the best tiebreakers of any of the 6-3 competitors. So he has made it into the top 16, but he's going up against Teebs, who was one of the top 3 finishers at an 8-1 record, absolutely blazed through this Swiss, has been on a serious hot streak. Falcone, this is a tough one.
It has been an impressive performance. I have to say I was guilty of not knowing enough about Teebs, not giving Teebs enough of the respect that he deserves. But he's really proven himself in this one. I believe it is his first top 16 in a DreamHack.
It is.
Versus Tars, another guy who I'm a huge fan of. It's so tough to call this one, but I love Tars' strategy, and I'd love to see him go even further.
I really love deck building. That's why I was so excited to see Terrence's really interesting control warrior build. And if we get to see Tars' mage one more time, that will be absolutely a treat. Lorinda, how do you feel about Tars' deck building?
No player has ever won 50 DreamHack matches in the history of DreamHack. Tars has won 49.
Wow.
That says enough about his deck building.
Wow.
He could be the first player to win 50 DreamHack matches.
Right.
That would be quite a feat.
He will be the first player.
Oh, well, let's
You're
not...
biased here on this panel?
I'm a little bit biased.
Let's not count out Teebs, guys. Seriously, Teebs had the better run through the Swiss.
Yeah, 8-1 is ridiculous. You've seen the people that are in this top 16. To go 8-1, you have to have beaten 2 or 3 or even 4 of those people. Teebs has had a terrific run here at DreamHack again.
Yeah, it's like I said, it is tough to call. I just
I know where your heart lies.
As crazy as this sounds, I'm excited to see Druid because I want to see how these games go. I want to see some Druid Stone.
All right.
I miss Druid
You're
Stone.
poorly, man.
Well, in the interest of Druid Stone, let's take a look at the picks and bans and see if we are going to be seeing some Druid from Teebs.
Don't make me mad, Tars. Come on. Excellent.
Tars is the ban man that we know and love. He has not banned Druid or Priest. He's stuck to his guns. He has banned Warrior. Wow.
Teebs has banned Druid. Of course, when your lineup becomes known and what you're trying to do becomes known, you do get this, you do open yourself up to Teebs going, you know what? Play your Druid, sir.
I was just thinking that, actually. it's almost a surprise that nobody's done that.
But Tars isn't playing his Druid. He is going to get to play the lineup that he brought. But again, if he does progress, somebody along the line may say, you know what? You're picking on things. Let's take a 50-50 with your Druid versus my Druid. Let's see how that goes.
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, maybe you're so unwilling to play up against some of the odd strategies that Tars has brought that you'd rather just go with the familiarity of Jade Druid.
I mean, if it's Conquest, that's probably just the play, is leave the Druid up. But last hero standing, the fact that Druid is still capable of just sweeping, it is still just the best deck in Hearthstone at the moment, Jade Druid, so...
That's saying a lot, considering all of the Priests we've seen, all of the Pirate Warrior, the 3-0 sweeps with Shaman. There's a lot of good decks in Hearthstone right now.
You could also call Tars' bluff and say, I don't think you've played Druid for a month.
Yeah,
I'll take you on in the mirror. I don't think you know what you're doing.
Thank you, net decked from Tempo Storm, and I don't know that you've actually used this deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we're going to have to find out, can Teebs' Druid be the Druid winner of the day, or is it going to be Tars' unique strategy that comes out on top? Teebs versus Tars, our final top 16 match of the day.
Tars versus Teebs. It's time for the 2 Ts. Lorinda, final prediction. Which one's going to take this one away?
I think Teebs is going to take it down, but yeah, I'm going to stick with that. There's no but. I think Teebs is going to take it down.
Good. A nice little bit of healthy caster competition for the final game of the day. We're just about ready to go. I'm excited to see Druid. I shouldn't be, but I really am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually the person who's saying how much fun Druid is to play, but even I am a bit jaded now, so...
I need to go home.
I'm so sorry.
I need to go home. Right, let's take a look at the mulligan for these guys straight away.
Good idea.
All right, it's going to be Tars with the Quest Mage. As we know, it's a Giants Quest Mage. In fact, we have the full list now in front of us, and Teebs starting out on the Shaman.
Okay, so Tars just... Oh, he's... What? No. Stop being you, Tars. No, never stop being you. Just considering throwing the quest away, just for the benefit of the casters, I think.
Stop being you, Tars?
He is throwing the...
Oh, yeah, he is. Well,
he's just going to get control of the board and quest it up later.
So I actually had a chat with Tars earlier today, funnily enough, about this exact mulligan.
Okay.
No, actually, it was against Paladin he was talking to me about, but he was saying, I've been thinking a lot about whether or not I should be throwing away the quest, because ultimately, you just use the removal that you draw, you clear everything, you forget about the quest, and eventually you just start playing Giants. You win the game anyway. Tars obviously believes in this matchup. It's more important to him to have a lot of spells, a lot of ways to remove the Shaman's board, than a one-mana card that for the first 12 turns does nothing.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that with Control Warrior over time, so it does make sense, but it's really awkward because the mage does need to get that quest complete to win. That being said, it is such an awkward matchup for them. We've just seen Shaman 3-0 somebody. He could do it again if you're not careful here. Teebs, basically a standard deck here, does have one Saronite Chain Gang. That's not unusual, but it's also not certainly common either. It's about 50-50 split. Yep. Just gives you that extra thing to evolve. It's so much easier to draw one of your 3 doppelgangsters than one of your 2 doppelgangsters. It's just that extra impetus to make sure you get that. That extra consistency is the word I'm looking for.
Now, Tars is taking a long time to decide which spell he wants here. Frostbolt, I don't need to explain to you why Frostbolt from Primordial Glyph is good. 3 damage for 0 mana, but Frozen Clone, just the fact that it's a secret suddenly means Teebs has to start playing around things, and because it came from a glyph, he would have no idea what he's supposed to be playing around. And Tars, you can see he's really thinking about this decision.
Yeah, he is one of those players, as it is obvious from the cards, you can see that tries to think outside the box when necessary. And yeah, he does go for that Frozen Clone. Give himself a chance to fight back.
And let's realistically here, what's he going to get? Probably 2 Blood Cell Corsairs, which isn't the most exciting pickup from the secret. He may get 2 Flame Tongue Totems. No. This was much more likely.
Yeah, it's important against someone who's thrown their quest away. You know that their strategy is to remove all your stuff. So your strategy has to be to conserve all your stuff, which means you are going to use your totem as much as possible. And of course, with the thing from below in your deck, and especially when it's in your hand, just continuously lowering that casting cost is really important.
Now, Tars picked up 2 Blood Cell Corsairs, and actually, I'm wondering if there is a significant value to that, because he can put them both on the board, ping something, and actually start to contest with Teebs' board just through the little bit of minion presence that he's picked up. Ultimately, he goes for the Eater of Secrets instead, decided that one slightly bigger minion is better than having a wide board. Unfortunately, Flame Tongue Totem or Jade Lightning probably going to shut Tars down.
Yeah, just going through this. Just a reminder, Tars doesn't even play Fireball in this deck. So
no.
Even the most basic of cards that normally deals with Thing from Below, not gonna happen.
3 Giants. 2 of them are Arcane Giants. 1 of them is a Molten Giant. It's the Molten Giant that we saw do all of the work way back at the beginning of yesterday. But those Arcane Giants are arguably even easier to get out nice and early.
As long as your opponent sort of lets you cast stuff, and Blizzard's going to be handy, obviously, but this doesn't play like a Secret Mage so much as you would think. Again, because those lack of fireballs. And your win condition is really to make sure something sticks to the board and Alex Stars your opponent's face against this matchup when you've thrown the quest away.
Right. Okay, well, Tars able to pick up another secret here. Again, confusing Teebs, meaning that Teebs isn't going to know what to play around. And Counterspell looks pretty good
Counterspell
with the knowledge
and not
that we have.
Play it. Save it for Bloodlust turns. Maybe let them Jade Lightning you in the face, and then later on drop the Counterspell, because there are very few spells in Shaman decks.
Yep. That's true.
So eat a Jade Lightning first, and then you're really in a good spot to stop Evolves and a good spot to stop Bloodlusts.
Is there any merit to taking the Potion of Polymorph and playing that this turn? If he did that, he could then play Blizzard next turn and guarantee the clear on almost everything, but nope. It's going to be the 0-mana Shatter. Okay, well, that does mean that a Blizzard does guarantee the clear on everything next turn. All right, I'm going to slow down a little bit.
2-card combo there just to get rid of the thing from below. Tars just making sure that every big threat is dealt with. But now he hasn't got the counter spell for the stuff that's going to start happening to him shortly. I know that Blizzard's going to take care of one lot of boards, but Teebs has been very careful not to overcommit. A lot of totem rolling going on, and knows that this Jade clause is going to get dealt with.
Yep.
Knows about the double Blood Cell Corsair. Just presents a board that, if you want to Blizzard this board, be my guest.
Yeah, it's an awkward board to Blizzard, but Flametongue doing what Flametongue does best and causing these tiny little things to become threats that are much bigger than they have any right to be. Tars hovering that mouse towards the Blizzard.
That Mana Tide is also a threat, even though it's never going to do any damage.
The board's
just
been very nicely...
drawing 2 cards is huge.
And the board's been very nicely set up so that if Tars pings the 3-1, then the buff moves along, so the Mana Tide's going to start dealing damage.
Tars has also been forced to play the cards from his glyphs, which means at any point he even wants to try and get the quest done. Not happening.
Yep.
Using too many cards from outside the game just to stay alive doesn't mean he's made a mistake getting rid of the quest. It just means that the way this works out is just so bad for him.
You wait, Lorinda. We're going to get Primordial Glyph. Sorry, we're going to get Kabbalah's Tome into Glyphs, into more Tomes. Tars will complete that quest at some point, even if it's the bottom card in the deck. No, I don't genuinely think that.
I thought you were scaring me there.
But yeah, Teebs' board getting completely out of control. Counterspell still present, though. No matter what counterspell hits, it's going to be relevant.
The card advantage of the Shaman Hero power is starting to show in the hand sizes.
Yep.
Teebs has not done anything other than lose minions this game and has still kept up with Tars on hand size.
Mana Tide Totem just happens to be a very nice draw engine. Second Bloodlust picked up from the Mana Tide.
Right, and now you probably have to Blizzard. Yeah, getting rid of the stuff. Teebs is going to get one more card from that Mana Tide. And Tars is so up against it that Kabbalah's Tome is going to have to be beautiful.
Also, the quest there will have been precisely what Tars did not want to draw this turn. I imagine that he will have hoped it was the bottom card in the deck because it's useless, whereas a Frost Nova would have bought him an extra turn, an Ice Bolt would have bought him an extra turn.
Another Blizzard would be fine.
A giant,
clear this up.
A giant would be putting himself on the board and actually posing a threat.
Yeah, no threats at all for him. That's obviously a huge issue right now. Rolls the Healing Totem. That's also fantastic for Teebs. And Teebs is now setting about the business of making a board that every turn is just a lethal threat with Bloodlust. And Tars just hasn't got the equipment in this deck to deal with this.
No, but maybe he can generate the equipment that he needs to deal with this. Kabbalah's Tome into Frost Nova would be a very convenient way of living just that little bit longer, and I said he'd get multiple tomes. That's not what he wanted right now, though.
I didn't actually hear you say it. I'm tome deaf. So
please,
Tars now has to work out how he wants to continue with this.
Just give me someone else to cast with, please.
And he's going to face down Bloodlust issues, and of course we always say this every time: you don't have to Bloodlust for lethal, you just Bloodlust for a lot.
Yeah.
Teebs is in position to Bloodlust for precisely a lot.
That is very precise.
Tars knows he needs to remove anything he can from this board, but if he does that, he may be considering, can I beat a Bloodlust anyway, and shall I just get on with drawing some cards?
It just counted very quickly, and I believe once this minion gets pinged.
22?
It's 22, yeah.
Okay, I agree.
That's the number I reached, okay.
Which is good.
That's a good sign. The scary thing is, the board could then be evolved and potentially get a charge minion.
Yeah, especially... now Teebs has picked up Thrall. I think we'll see Evolve happen and look for that lethal before the Ice Block comes down.
The only risk there is that a totem can turn into a Doomsayer.
It can. So maybe Teebs just doesn't want to take the 1 in 85-ish number chance.
When you're almost guaranteed to win the game,
yeah.
I was going to say why play the thing that can cause you to lose. I don't think it would have caused Teebs to lose. There's some Arcane Giants. They do only cost 2 mana, but... Okay, well, Tars has another turn.
Yep, Tars can set up the block and has to, or he will die. So that's the first thing.
That works.
Teebs has to take care of these, but he really can do it pretty easily.
How long has that Flame Tongue Totem been sitting there?
Yeah, and that Mana Tide. I mean, Tars may be tarsing around here and trying to get the Mana Tide to kill Teebs the way it's going. It's just done infinite damage, this Mana Tide.
Now, because of the new 11 mana Giant, Devolves actually now work on Arcane Giants, whereas they never used to because there were no 11 cost cards. So actually, you can devolve them several times and turn them into something different. That's something that can happen nowadays. I don't think it's too relevant right here. Unless Tars can just generate ice blocks every turn for the next 4 turns.
So this Mana Tide was played on the turn that Tars was looking to Blizzard.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's been healed up since.
Yep.
And that play, simple though it is in thought, it's like, I just don't want everything to die to the Blizzard, has done so much damage because Teebs knows he can't attack that turn. So let's play the card that's going to do some damage, and the damage is a card draw. That is still there, and that, if Teebs does win this game, which is looking very likely, will be the play that won it. Again, fairly straightforward for a lot of people, but always worth bearing in mind, how can I do damage through these frozen minions? And the answer is draw more cards.
Well,
Tars needs another block, really.
Yeah, that's exactly what he needs. And even then, how does he win the game? He just used up 2 Arcane Giants.
Well, he can start to sneak towards completing the quest and finding a way. I've learned not to write off the things that can go crazy with time walks, but yeah, I agree. How does he find a way in the
I've learned not to write off Tars. There's a nice block.
There's another block.
Obviously, there was at least a 50% chance of that happening, so no huge surprise there. Don't think there's any reason to freeze the board because Teebs very rarely has no damage in hand to finish you off. I like Kabbalist's Tome. Oh, okay.
Make Teebs have it. He might not have it.
That's true.
And also it means that if you draw a barrier from your Kabbalist's Tome later and Teebs has used a Jade Lightning on your face, maybe you gain the 8 armor and it starts to sneak you back into the game. Remember, there's an Alex Straza in this deck from Tars. Tars can heal his own face.
Yep.
So making Teebs have potentially double Jade Lightning, not just the one, if Tars can maybe find another one from one of these tomes.
Darwin would be proud of Teebs this game with Doppelgangster in hand, 2 evolves and Thrall. There's a lot that can happen. Tars needs to hang in there though. Glyph into Ice Block. No!
Nothing. I wasn't looking you in any way at all.
I don't know what just happened. Ice Barrier plus freeze something. It's not enough, is it? No.
Not yet.
Well. Okay, so Tars is going to be bluffing the Ice Block here.
Yeah.
And hoping that Teebs ends up making some silly trades that cause him to actually not pop.
It's such a Tars play, this. It's like, I have a 0.1% chance or less of you doing something ridiculous that costs you the game.
Yep. But
it's been known before in Hearthstone at DreamHacks, but not by somebody of Teebs' quality, I do not think.
No, there's no reason not to bluff the Ice Block. You just see if it works. Chances are Teebs, if Teebs just tries to hit face with something first, he'll see that at least that card is an Ice Barrier, and he knows that the Spellbender is not an Ice Block, because Ice Block was up with that before. So as soon as that Ice Barrier is procced, then Teebs will know that he's safe to just go on and win the game. Yeah,
he's looking good for a 1-0. He's just going to take a bit of time to make it work. Tars sitting there, absolutely stony-faced. That's a bit of a clue in its own right, to be honest. When's Tars ever stony-faced?
Okay, all right, there we go. Game number 1 goes to Teebs. Very nice victory.
And you can see why Tars got rid of the quest. I'm almost wondering, actually, having watched that, if you don't get rid of the quest. Because it's so forlorn, maybe keeping the quest is actually your only way to win.
He almost certainly would have completed it, so that would have been an extra
I don't think it's good either way, but maybe it's just so awful. And Tars is the expert, and Tars throws the quest.
Ultimately, I think that Tars did not get a matchup he wanted there. He's going to have to rely on his Murloc Paladin and his big Priest to see him through. That's right, if you've forgotten, Tars is not actually playing Razarkus Highlander Priest. Apparently that's the name now that everyone's calling it, Razarkus. He's only big Priest, and let's see how that works.
It works by drawing barns. That's how it works.
Well, yeah.
It's a fairly single-minded strategy.
And there it is! Okay, all right. Coin Barns into Eternal Servitude. Let's go.
And now the game changes on its head. That opening hand didn't look particularly strong, but suddenly it looks insanely strong. And loads of ways of getting back the minions, of course. For those of you who haven't seen this, there are no small minions in the deck apart from Barnes. You get a minion from Barnes. It dies. You get it back a load of times as a full-strength minion way before its time. It's almost like playing a card like Innovate in your deck, which is obviously banned most of the time at the moment.
I think Eternal Servitude after a Barnes is way better than Innovate.
I was being very slightly sarcastic, and you are absolutely right.
You're being very conservative, or...
Okay.
Yeah, I have no doubt that Coin Barnes is going to be the next play. And the thing is, if Teebs devolves to prevent the Eternal Servitude from happening, then the potential 8 or 9 mana 1/1 becomes a potential 7 or 8 mana fully blown minion.
Yeah,
so
it's absolutely silly.
Devolve doesn't beat it. You have to just kill it and hope there's no Eternal Servitude. Tars also has Pint-Sized Potion and Shadow Word Horror to clear a board when he needs to. There's
Doesn't
no...
even need a potion at the moment.
Yeah. That's true.
Just needs the horror.
It's not possible for Teebs to play Bloodlust this turn, so I'm certain this is Coin Barnes.
Oh! So you do this to play around Flame Tongue Totem.
Okay, yeah, okay.
You don't want to have to use your potion.
You got me.
You do it now to play on Flame Tongue.
And now it's really good, regardless of what he gets.
Yeah.
So, potential outcomes. The Lich King, Yusharaj, Obsidian Statue. No matter what he gets, he ends up with a Taunt minion.
There's one. It's a Taunt minion.
It's a Taunt minion.
It's magic.
It was 100%, it was going to happen 100% of the time. Yusharaj was probably the best one, because that brings out the Taunt minion at full health.
Right.
And then you can still Eternal Servitude it back later. But this will do.
This will do.
Can't complain about this.
Not quite as powerful in terms against Shaman as other decks, but still way easily powerful enough.
Well, you wouldn't have minded the Lich King, really. I guess that's probably the best one in that scenario, because then you start getting the Death Knight cards. But how do you beat this? Now Teebs is going to have to play Devolve.
Yeah, it's pretty grim. Doppelgangers evolve. Just a case of whether you want to wait one more turn for that and deal with the board first. I don't think Teebs is going to... No, he's going to do this now and see what he can roll.
Well,
2 card draws.
Dragonfire Potion deals with that very nicely.
The double card draw, I think, means that Teebs at least can hang on in there a little longer, but nothing really good enough. As you say, the Dragonfire Potion is just going to be disturbingly strong. Does it leave a 6-1 up?
What is it?
Tars can trade, if he wants to.
Yeah.
And
Oh, don't worry about the 2 cards I was talking about. Tars is just going to have one of them. Oh, there's another Potion of Madness.
This works as well. There's no way that Teebs is lethal here. You don't get past Obsidian Statue that easily. Bloodlust plus Devolve isn't even... Oh, I know, it will be a possibility next turn, but it's just not enough damage. Especially as Tars is actually going to deal with one of these larger minions as well with the Pint-Sized Potion Shadow Word Pain.
Just going to kill your minions with themselves. It's a bit silly right now. It's going to be likely one game all as we just resolve the screen issue for you. It's looking for all the world, though, like Tars in control of this one.
Yep, there he is. He's sorry, that's not
Sorry,
Tars.
I said Tars.
You said Tars.
Teebs.
Yeah, but Teebs is not in control. You were right. Tars is in control of this one. He's in control. I was wrong. And he's looking pretty happy about it as well.
Yeah, and again, that's the Tars we know and love, bringing this peculiar lineup. And we've seen another, we saw the other lineup with the Prince Rogue also going well in this tournament. And so even though we have seen a whole bunch of stuff that looks the same in this tournament, two of the lineups we had identified as unusual earlier in the day, or early yesterday, have actually made it into the top 16, and one's already in the top 8.
Just to update you guys watching, we will be getting back into the game as soon as possible. We're having some slight technical difficulties, spectator mode, whatever's going on. We'll find out in just a moment. But I can imagine, if I had to hazard a guess as to what is happening right now, I think Tars is playing big minions.
And we can have a bit of a look at the screen there. So there's still what looks like a Barnes on the screen. We can see the Mana Tide and the Radiant Elemental. That can't be right.
There's a Swamp King Dread on the board with Tarz's board somehow.
So hopefully, guys, this is better than not having coverage at all. We're aware it's a little bit awkward.
So could that be a devolve or two that's caused that to happen? Oh, no, Forbidden Shaping just came down. Okay.
Yes, so Forbidden Shaping got a Swamp King Dread. And actually, that is a nightmare to play against for Shaman because you can't Doppelgangster evolve, because they just all commit suicide before you turn them into real minions. So it's actually really hard for Shaman to play against Swamp King Dread.
Yep. Regardless, Teebs had already played one of the Doppelgangsters. Things are just looking so bad. Let's take a look at his side of the board just there. And, okay, we saw him bottom right, buddy. So...
yeah, that'll give us a chance to sort out the issues. Hopefully that was at least coverage for you that you could understand for a moment. One game all in this last best of 5 for our coverage, at least of the day. We do have some other results to bring to you as the day goes on.
Apologies that we weren't able to bring you the whole of that game properly, but if I'm being quite honest, we saw the Barnes come down, we saw the Eternal Servant, like, we saw the important turns. It was very obvious from that point that Tars was going to go on and win the whole thing.
2 games away from his 50th DreamHack match win. Yeah. Nobody has 50. A lot of players coming into this had in the 40s. Deathlore had 44, I believe, and I think he went 5-4. He may be 49 also.
Yeah.
But he is out of the tournament now.
And that is amazing as well, because when you think of notable Hearthstone players, Tars is certainly one of them.
Right.
But he's not necessarily the top of your list. If you were to ask anybody in Twitch chat, any of you guys, if we were to ask, who do you think has the most ever DreamHack wins? I doubt that Tars is the first name that would jump out at you.
And it's the mid-60s%. Like, I haven't got the exact number, but it's 62% going into this. He had 67% in this. It's low 60% win rate. It's not like he's going everywhere and going 4-5 and racking up all these wins, but just doing it by being some weird millionaire jet setter or something who plays all the DreamHacks. He's actually putting in a competitive win rate on the way. He has only managed to make one top 16, which is amazing before this, but that's because he gets constant 6-3s, 5-4, 6-3. I think he may have missed out on tiebreakers one time, that sort of thing.
Well, I know that we've lost Zalay now, and we've sort of lost...
We've lost him?
We've lost...
Well, he went for a walk and maybe some time.
Cora made the same joke when I said the same thing. Come on, guys.
I didn't hear it, I swear.
We know that we've lost Zalay, and we've kind of lost the Zalay Muzzy storyline. But what a beautiful story would it be if Tars went on as the biggest ever DreamHack winner, or the person that's won the most DreamHack matches ever, and actually won DreamHack Montreal 2017.
That would be a good way to establish the fact that it's not just a number, it's actually a relevant number. Yeah, 50's a lot. I mean, DreamHack's been around for a long time, but originally there were only 2 Grand Prix per year. Extended this season into 7, of course. Put that into a bit of context for you, all those numbers we've just spewed out. Let's have a look at the bracket so you can remind yourselves of what's been going on today.
Yeah, we are well and truly into top 16. As you can see so far, The Rat, Hot Meowth, Wala Oompa, Muzzy, and Insom have all qualified, meaning that the remaining games are Teebs versus Tars that you're seeing right now. Monsato versus Sayun. I apologize if I've said that wrong. And Terrence versus Talion. And I believe that was the game that you said you were particularly looking forward to.
Yeah, Terrence versus Talion. Terrence won Montreal last time around. It was not a Grand Prix event, and some of the I think some of the great rounds were best of 3, so that's why it wasn't a Grand Prix event. Right. Still a big event here in Montreal last time.
So you could argue that he's the reigning champion of DreamHack Montreal.
In some ways, he is the reigning champion. He is the reigning champion of DreamHack Montreal. Yep. It just wasn't a Grand Prix event, but he's still the reigning Hearthstone champion here. Talion put in fantastic performances in WESG last year. He went through the Canadian section into the Americas section. He went through that into the World section, and he didn't get anywhere particularly in that, but you go all the way to China, basically, their version of stuff. And yeah, Talion, a fantastic, underrated player because he doesn't get out and about very often. But when he does play, he's one of the players that very respected. So him versus Terrence is an interesting one indeed. All
right, now the players appear to be swapping headsets. I think that is a clear sign that they are almost ready to continue this series. We have a clear sign that you want to finish that.
I don't even know. I'm just looking at the red headset and the blue headset, and I was trying to make a red versus blue joke, but I couldn't think of one.
That's cute. That's cute. Just to remind you guys what we have moving forward. Tars just won with his Priest against Teebs' Shaman. Shaman has already beaten Tars' Mage, so we have essentially a best out of 3 moving forwards. Tars with his Paladin and Priest, Teebs with his Druid and Priest.
Teebs with his Druid and Priest, did you just say?
Yes.
Did you read that correctly?
Druid and Priest.
How can you have Druid and Priest left? There's a ban in this tournament.
Well, let's find out if this is going to continue to work out for Tars. As Teebs cues the mirror. Now I've heard more people saying that the big Priest is favored in this matchup than saying that the Razaka's Priest is favored in this matchup, just because the big blowout start can happen. And as we saw yesterday, the very first game of DreamHack Montreal on stream was Tars getting a terrible opening, the worst luck you can imagine in so many ways, and yet still defeating a Razaka's Priest.
Yeah, and Teebs just deciding wants to take this on with his own Priest. I'm just trying to find the list and failing right now. That's because I am the most disorganized person on the entire planet. But I do now have it available to me. Here it is. And Teebs, I'm just looking, I want to look through the list because there is that Tar Creeper in there, which isn't necessarily standard. There is also, the rest is pretty standard. There's no Gnomish Inventor, but that's not a standard card anyway. And there is a Novice, so it is pretty much literally the Tar Creeper for the Gnomish.
Okay. So just a little bit more board control-y.
Yeah, not quite so desperate to cycle through the deck, just something a little bit to slow down the board. Really nothing in it. So there's nothing there to indicate that Teebs should be excited to kill off all this. There is also a silence, which isn't particularly standard, but you don't really want to silence a 1-1 and turn it to a 4-8.
Some people feel that spot with Cabal Talon Priest. Teebs has filled it with Tar Creeper, as you say, but it's just, there are many tech options you have available to you when you go and build one of these Razaka's Priest decks. Now, Teebs straight away dropping Lyra on turn 5, using the coin, going to generate some spells, and Tars has to deal with it. Do you think that Teebs may have done this with the fact that it's turn 6 coming up and he wants to stop this from happening?
Yes, and to some degree. We saw Dr. J yesterday try to win this match by just putting any minion he could find on the board and slamming it into his opponent's face.
Yep.
And I think Teebs is going to take the same strategy here. Dr. J was a bit luckier with the number of minions he drew than Teebs has been. And so I think you just have to find anything you can that can go face in this matchup and hope to kill your opponent before they just start taking over with massive minions.
That Shadow Essence, I believe, gave Tars the ability to summon either one of 2 Obsidian statues, a Yashiraj or Barnes. Obviously, getting Barnes would have been bad news. It was much more likely for Tars to get one of the better targets, so no huge surprise as to what's happened here. Teebs now has to find a way of getting rid of it, and unfortunately, he can't do so without sacrificing Lyra.
Yeah, and that's not fun, but Lyra can find other ways to get rid of it.
Hang on a second. Now, Pint-Sized Potion, Potion of Madness, Shadowwood Pain is a way of doing it if Teebs wanted to use up the resources. Obviously, he doesn't.
Does not happy to lose the Lyra, which is unusual.
But you can just resummon it.
Something happened there. No, Teebs just taking motion to make sure he wasn't making a mistake. He wasn't making a mistake. He's absolutely fine with this.
Lyra's back, and Lyra's gone again.
Lyra up, Lyra down.
But now, Tars can curve into the Lich King, and then the following turn bring the Lich King back. And I think early on in the game, that's the card you want to keep getting. Death Grip, taking Velen, for example, could be huge.
We need to keep account of the number of 1-mana spells in Teebs' hand. Because Teebs has the combo, does not have Velen yet, but there is a lot of damage coming through for Teebs.
What is going on? No! Pint-sized Potion, Shadow Word Horror just annihilates Tars' board right now.
Yeah, and that's another 2 out of the way.
That's both
Teebs ticking them off.
It's both Eternal Servitudes. Both of those drawn naturally, neither came from a Shadow Visions. That's not good news for Tars.
How much damage Teebs is starting to line up with his Radiant Elemental Velen when it comes to that time.
Yep.
It's not there yet. Some of those cards are difficult to play.
And there's still Ysera from Tars. There's still the Lich King. And Anduin coming down at a kind of...
I like this a lot.
An awkward time. Kills his own minion.
Yeah, but Teebs is saying, you know what, I need to get more out of these. How about you drop your Ysera to make some real stuff? If Ysera comes down here, then the clear is going to be insane value.
Should he not have at least traded the minion in first? I can't think of a reason.
I guess he was a bit suspicious looking that he didn't. Yeah, I agree. But this is what he had in mind. He didn't have this in mind. He had Ysera in mind, and Tars has dodged that one.
There's Death Grip! It takes the Velen. Well, it doesn't always take the Velen, but if it takes the Velen, it could also take Kazakus. It now can't take Cabal Shadow Priest. We haven't seen Tar Creeper yet.
Yeah, that missed 5 damage is pretty relevant right now.
Yep.
To be fair.
Though Pint-Sized Potion Shadow Word Horror deals with everything except the Lich King, that Lich King cannot be dealt with this turn.
Not in the real world without Teebs burning up a Dragonfire potion and shooting stuff. I mean, it can be dealt with if Teebs deems it big enough threat.
Oh, maybe it just can. Ping, Dragonfire potion, ping.
And that's where last turn's 5 missed damage is really huge because one of these with 4/8s would get dealt with as well.
Yeah, Teebs is going to have to waste a lot of stuff here. And Death Grip is, I think, the best card that Tars could have gotten from the Lich King.
And I think that Teebs had it so much in his mind that he was going to do the clear on Ysera that just jumped the gun a bit with that attack.
Teebs just taking his own.
Yeah, he just wants stuff. Trying to find a way to attack.
Oh, the Lich King survives? Oh, that's not good. That's not good. Something's gone very wrong here, and you can see it with the expression on Teebs' face. Such a vital moment in the tournament. And
miscounted something. I'm not quite sure what's happening there. There was something caught my eye and distracted me for a moment, I'm afraid. But
well,
Teebs has...
I can tell you this much, Lorinda. A ping just hit the face, and the Lich King survived.
Right.
That cannot be intentional.
Exactly, yeah. So maybe even just as much as a misclick has been known. Sometimes animations do it, but I don't think there's an animation that would do it here. Like you attack with a weapon and you hit yourself in the face or something. That's been a thing that happened throughout Hearthstone.
And Teebs' facial expression made it quite clear that he knows he just done goofed.
He just done goofed indeed. And the rest of the turn looks so beautiful, to be honest. All right, so here's Ysera.
Plain and simple. I like this play a lot. And there's another huge potential tempo play from Tars. From Tars. Barnes into Yasharaj to then summon the Obsidian statue is pretty huge. And actually, thanks to the Dream, he gets 2 shots at it.
Very different to how we've seen this match go down before, the way Teebs is playing this. Like I say, we saw Dr. J just go all-out aggression. Teebs is basically trying to win it with trickery.
Yeah.
And put himself in a good position to get in a good position until whatever happened with that ping to face.
Imagine Barnes, it summons Yashiraj. Dream it. Barnes again, it summons Yashiraj. One of them summons Yashiraj from the deck, the other one summons Obsidian Statue. It's a big tempo play.
It sounds like a big time. I'm just going to take your word for it at this point, because that was just way too many things being summoned, but it sounds like you're going to summon a lot of things.
Sure. Curious Glimmer Root. Okay.
Just keep on taking your opponent's deck, why don't you? And some beatings finally begin. There is a danger for Tars that he just runs out of ways to win.
Yes.
That seems to be what Teebs is on that plan for some time.
But he still has at least one, if not two, Obsidian Statues left in his deck. He still has Yashiraj left in his deck.
Oh yeah, it's not a danger anytime soon, but Teebs may well be just on the you don't have enough to kill me strategy right now.
This Potion of Madness is huge. Obsidian Statue's ability gonna just destroy Ysera in one hit.
Pew pew. There's another 2 minions dealt with.
Tars needs something good from this Curious Glimmer Root, I'm telling you. He's still got Forbidden Shaping as well. That is an extra minion.
What is good that he can get from it? Velen?
Velen, yeah, Velen is
just another big thing.
And he does run Shadow Reaper Anduin in the deck, I believe.
Okay.
Unless I was looking at the wrong list.
A Thought Steal.
I mean...
Teebs has the Thought Steal
2 cards
in his deck to steal from his opponent, but it's now turned against him, and Tars is actually going to get some more stuff.
2 cards for the price of 1, sort of. The Glimmer Root came from a Death Grip, so it was actually ripped out of his deck. And hey, that Drake, that is an extra big minion.
It is an important extra big minion as well. More resources going to be sunk into keeping the board clear here.
Yeah, Teebs is running out of cards to play. When you've got a Priest that's now in this position with 4 cards left in his hand, that's not good.
He's managed to hold on to that Dragonfire Potion. That's something that he's protected, but he is out of tricks, I think, as well. I think there's a decent number of not much going on, like Glimmer Roots and just bits and pieces happening. There is, of course, a Velen in there somewhere as well, which is super important.
And it's one that Tars can actually take with Thought Steal.
Remember that Tars will have double healing potion in his deck, so Teebs going to have to do somewhere in the region of 30 or 40 damage unless he can set up in a 1-turn kill to play around the healing potions. That's one thing that's possible.
Shadow Essence is still relevant for the time being.
Right.
13 cards left in the deck, so, and again, at least one of them, if not 2, are Obsidian Statues, and 1 is Yashiraj, so...
The Yashiraj hasn't been much fun on stream, hasn't come to play and do its thing very often.
Yeah, we haven't seen him yet.
He got turned into a sheep one time, I think. And came back as a sheep several times.
As Yashirajas often do. Good old gods, showing their true power.
A sheep.
Sheep Saran.
Wow. I'm just going to let you...
It's more Frog Saran, really, but... Okay.
Frog Saran. That's much better. Yeah, I can go with that. Okay, back to the world of Hearthstone. That is the world of Hearthstone.
Or the world of Warcraft.
Or the world of Warcraft.
I don't mind.
Oh, my goodness. Even Dan's on form today.
Okay, anyways, let's move on. Dragonfire Potion going to clear up that board nicely. Shadow Essence still ready to go, and Tars isn't in a major hurry. Even if he draws 1 of his 3 remaining minions, Shadow Essence will still allow him to get 1 of the others.
Yep.
It's not like he's out of resources just yet.
And Teebs has to be very careful with every card in his deck now, or he's not going to have enough damage to ever be able to win the game. So any threat that Tars can make is actually gigantic, because it's just stuff that Teebs has to deal with, and that involves using up more cards. And Teebs' deck must be getting thin about now.
Yep, I would actually like to... I'm hoping that Tars will mouse over the deck sizes in a moment so that we can get a better look at exactly how many cards are remaining, because fatigue may come into play here. It's unlikely, but possible.
Yeah, and then it's going to be complicated to work out, because Teebs are going to have... Tars are going to have 1 or 2 minions. Teebs are going to have a little bit of firepower, and both of them are going to have not much.
Something very strange could happen here for Tars, actually, because Forbidden Shaping doesn't work with Battle Cries. But if Tars does get a big minion with it that has a great Battle Cry, he can dream it back to his hand and play it again and actually get the Battle Cry.
Okay.
Remember, Forbidden Shaping works from various classes, so there are a lot of possibilities of what Tars may or may not get.
The turn he plays it, he's going to have a long think about what number he wants to use. 8's the usual.
For example, 10, N'Zoth. Dream it, play it again, you get all your Obsidian statues back.
Let's have Yogg.
I think N'Zoth's probably a little bit better, given how many of these statues have died. But yeah, I mean, it's possible, right?
Yeah, 10 might actually be quite good. This is where an understanding of so much nonsense.
It is.
Your trivia knowledge is huge when it comes to, because normally 8 is just the default.
Yeah, but
it's
you're
the most solid number.
But you're thinking just in terms of stats.
Right.
You're not thinking in terms of battle cries, because it's not usually relevant. But with Dream in the hand, it is relevant. Oh, he met 8 and 5. Okay, Tars has 8 cards left, Teebs has 5.
What does he get? He goes for the 8.
Oh, he may have wanted to dream that and get the random legendary minions.
Yeah, he played that too quickly, you're right. I think you want to dream that card.
But then how do you kill the 0-1s?
You find a way.
There's always a way. There's got to be a Spirit Lash or something left in Tarz's deck.
Maybe there just isn't. Maybe that's why.
Shadowy thoughts.
Maybe he's just not even interested. Maybe save the dream for emergencies, because I don't think Tars thinks that he can die right now. Teebs just doesn't have much going on.
Okay,
well,
that's another minion.
Teebs, I say he hasn't got much going on. Actually, has he used his Radiant Elemental? I just can't remember. I'm so sorry. But I don't
Teebs
think he has.
Yeah,
he has used the Radiant.
He's
okay.
used it.
So that makes things a bit harder for him.
He had a lot of 1-mana cards in his hand earlier. And I only remember because you told me to keep an eye on it.
Good man. Teebs gets Kazakas. I think this is really important. Now, do you go for a value card or do you go for a 1-mana card to help you with your OTK? What's the choice here?
My gut is telling me 10.
And also, you go for 5 to deal with the immediate problems. All 3 are in play.
Well, if you go 5, you play it this turn.
That's what I mean, yeah. So all 3 are in play.
10, you can get a mass polymorph. Is that relevant? Maybe not. He's actually not playing Kazakas this turn.
Doesn't feel he needs it, so because the decision is difficult, just going to delay the decision. That's absolutely fine by me.
I like that. I like to delay difficult decisions forever.
I know that feeling well. I've been engaged for about 10 years.
Wow.
Hi, Ali. Love you. So, Teebs does go for the value of the 10 drop.
Adding three demons to your hand. Could he ever be looking for Jiraxxus?
I mean, Jiraxxus is one, but honestly, just 3 bodies to put on the board at the end of this game could be gigantically relevant. I don't think that's how you describe what I mean, but yeah, Jiraxxus would be fantastic. It'd just be a win.
Gruul is gigantic and relevant right now.
It really is. It's been a grueling encounter right down to the last few cards, so it's definitely relevant that it popped up.
I was going to say even silenced is still a 7/7, but deathed and it's nothing.
Death and it's dead.
Yeah.
For now. So Teebs, I think the 10 drop makes more sense the more looking at this. He was aware that he was going to have to use up these and sacrifice the OTK, so the value is important, and it could come down to which 3 demons happen to come from this spell. But Tars is going to have to use up one of those healing potions.
There's the final. That has to be the final Obsidian statue, and
it's like the 19th Obsidian statue.
See, imagine how good N'Zoth would have been, right?
Just Obsidianville.
Pretty sure we've had at least 6 die already. Maybe, no, 7 or 8, I think. It would have been a full board of Obsidian statues anyway. There should still be a Yashiraj in the deck somewhere. There has to be a Yashiraj in this deck. Come on.
I'm almost out of cards.
And Teebs, for Teebs, fatigue is a genuine factor now. There's the Thought Steal that Tars had the luxury of using a long time ago. He can take Yashiraj with that Thought Steal.
They need to use that Thought Steal soon as well, before Tars actually gets below 2 cards in the deck.
Okay, so Abyssal Enforcer's good.
Yep. Just because it's a thing. The other 2 aren't so hot, though.
Lakari Fellhound maybe as a last resort later when he's used up everything he wants to use in his hand. That Thought Steal is going to get... was almost guaranteed to get the Yashiraj at this point.
This is kind of silly.
If Tars is feeling generous, he could dream back the Kazakas.
Are there any minions left in Tarz's deck at all?
Yeah, it should be Yashiraj.
Just Yashiraj, just the 10.
I think it's just Yashiraj, yeah.
Just Yashiraj.
Just Yashiraj.
Starting to speak like me, Dan. All right, so Teebs is out of stuff. We're going to have to Thought Steal to get some more stuff. Is it just lethal?
It's not lethal, is it? No, it might be. This is... I think it is.
Because of the 3 from the silence, yeah.
It is! Spirit Lash is another 2 damage afterwards. Malkazar's imp. Teebs has done it. He's in fatigue, but finally gets through. Tars is left with only his mid-range Murloc Paladin. It's the Cobalt Scalebane version.
And Tars definitely had a chance to Healing Potion, right? And just chose to try and occupy board.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't counting the lethal. I don't like making excuses, but the reason I wasn't counting is I just assumed that he had Healing Potion while we were talking about something else. And he didn't. Teebs found a way to win that. Set out a game plan right from the start to first deal with a load of stuff and then try and do some damage. And 2 games to 1, and Tars down to only his Paladin, which is actually a normal-ish deck, I seem to remember.
Yes, it's the Cobalt Scalebane version that several of the players have been running in this tournament. Paladin seems to have just taken one baby step into the more aggressive realms by dropping Primordial Drakes. Adding the more aggressive dragon works just as well with the Curator and tends to finish off their opponents much faster.
Tars looking for the 1, 2, 3, but the 1 is usually a Murloc in that equation.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to throw away Righteous Protector. Guess he's decided it's better than nothing.
Yeah, and it's a difficult call, but it does make sense. Just because it's something to get you going. It's a difficult thing to deal with. You've got the Rallying Blade has turned up. This could be pretty good for Tars. Teebs, on the other hand.
Well, it's always a little sad to play Rockpool Hunter without buffing anything.
And I actually didn't know if that was going to happen. I thought Tars may consider coin Rallying Blade.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing. It seemed like it may just about be worth it because you buffed the 1/1, but...
Double Megasaur is a big deal, though.
And the blowout potential to get War Leader down next turn as well to buff up the Rockpool Hunter and then into the Megasaur, as you say.
And the Shadow Word Pain has been baited out here.
Yeah.
Which means this 2/2 Divine Shield has a bit more life in it if Tars wants to go with the Rallying Blade, but he wants to get the Megasaur to protect the War Leader behind the Righteous Protector, which is the aptly named card.
Now, usually you'd ask, how does Teebs get rid of this 3/3 now? Pain is gone, but Spirit Lash being picked up means that Teebs does have the tools that he needs to get rid of it and get rid of the Divine Shield. So Holy Smite and Spirit Lash wouldn't be that horrible, although it is using up a lot of resources. Kazakus, okay, it's a little bit greedier, just a little bit greedier. But it could really pay off next turn.
Going for the 5. He's got damage for the second part. I didn't catch the first part.
I missed it as well.
5 damage for the second part. And now Tars has decisions. Does he want to play the Megasaur now? Just for 1 buff?
When you've just seen Kazakus play.
He's got a lot of choices here. You don't want to coin out Finger because like you say, you've just seen Kazakus play. You want to get rid of that potion. So you've got to do something that tries to get the potion out of hand to get the Finger to stick on the board the turn after.
I think I prefer Rallying Blade here because you keep the Divine Shield on the 1/1. It means deal 4 deal 4 to everything doesn't actually deal with the 1/1. It just deals with the Murloc. Like, you can coin out Hydrologist as well.
Maybe you just play Hydrologist here.
Okay.
And then make a dude, or maybe use the secret.
The only thing that makes that play slightly worse is that Kazakus could then pop the Divine Shield and the potion could finish everything else off. But now, Finger coming out, and actually deal 4 doesn't do it.
Of course, because of the War Leader.
Again, very soon, War Leader is being nerfed, and this will not be the case anymore. But for the meantime...
Right, that's what makes it a good nerf, right? Because it's still going to let you beat the snot out of people with Murlocs.
And a lot of time throughout this tournament, we have seen these situations, these value trades, these buffs out of range of AoE, which does show just how powerful Murloc War Leader is at the moment and what exactly the nerf is going to do.
did we catch what the first part of the potion was? I don't think we have got that yet. So we know the second part is the 5 damage. The way that was played makes me wonder if the second part is still the AoE effect. See what the Megasaur has to say.
It's got to be attack, isn't it? 1-1 would have been nice here, actually. Usually 1-1 is like strictly worse than attack or health, but in that exact scenario, 1-1 would have...
Well, we'll find out if the potion's got AoE effect, because it'll be played if it has.
Well, Dragonfire Potion, though, also looks very strong this time. He's going to go for it. It's summon a 5/5. I can just about see the text right now. Summon a 5/5, deal 5 damage.
Okay. Good swing turn. It's like reverse Bone Mare if it gets played.
Reverse Bone Mare.
Kill one, make one.
Stealth would guarantee that Bone Mare goes... Well, no, it wouldn't, because you're still afraid of the 4 damage AoE, so never mind.
Tars is finding ways to generate boards, but all the time, Teebs has just not really been that pressured. And Tars is at the situation where he's actually struggling to keep minions on board.
Well, it's Bone Mare time.
It is Bone Mare time, and he has a minion there for it. So, has managed to come through that part of it. Teebs doesn't have Anduin in hand, which is always the question at this point.
Yeah. Well, look, right now for Tars, it's turn 7. There are no boom bots available. I guess we play Bone Mare.
No boom bots available. Such a shame. No Anduin. That would have been the big... That would have been game-winning if Teebs did have Anduin. This is the turn where, as Paladin, you always are terrified. Or whichever Paladin you're playing, this is the turn against Prix where you are just not happy with life. But now you are, kind of. Wow.
So, Tars is not struggling for value just yet. Stonehill Defender helps that out. Sunkeeper Tarim isn't quite as good as a Tyrion. In fact, Wrathion being a 4/5, given that Dragonfire Potion has been used...
Couple of Scalebanes in there as well. Hasn't drawn one yet.
This is not an easy pick.
It's not. It really is not.
And Tars is the man that yesterday was considering picking up a Shield Bearer instead of a, I think it was Sunkeeper Tarim yesterday from a Discover. No, this time, Tarim is the pick, ultimately.
And he's just managed to sneak a little bit of a board.
It's got to be the secret, right? Yeah, because either of these going back to the hand is fine.
Yeah. Either way, you get some really good value. Nothing great standing out for Teebs here.
Priest of the Feast. Maybe isn't as relevant. I guess the way that Paladin beats you is that it creates big boards, it creates more and more pressure as it goes on, and eventually just overpowers you. It doesn't so much beat you by chipping your health down bit by bit.
Right.
So Priest of the Feast, not as valuable in this matchup as it would be against, say, Pirate Warrior or certain mage decks. I don't mind just throwing this down now as like, here's a minion, trade with it.
Yeah, Tars just needs to not worry about it too much, I suspect. Second Bone Mare, some buffs for Tars would be handy right now.
Okay, well, I guess this plus Tarim seems like a simple play. Second getaway
Just
Coda.
more value, just keeping on getting any value he has available to him.
Yep. Trade in the weapon, start smacking the face. But if he's trading in the weapon, then he should have hit face with the Bone Mare first.
Sure, yeah.
He still should have hit face with the Bone Mare first. Tars actually just missed 2 damage there.
And it's important because if you win this match, you usually don't win it by domination. You win it by your 47th wave of minions just getting enough damage over.
Bone Mare bounced back to the hand there. And Tars chose for that to happen.
Right.
He traded in, he decided to trade in Stonehill Defender.
Yeah.
So he made the decision there that if both are killed at the same time, I want the Bone Mare back, not the extra taunt.
And this is why he's managed to set up this board, which is very Bone Mare friendly. He knows that Teebs is going to have to top deck Anduin to do the damage required.
Right. Dragonfire Potion, gone. Pint-Sized Potion, Shadowword Horror, gone. Kazakus, gone. How many more ways can Teebs possibly clear this board?
Yeah, and I mean, the only saving grace, which isn't much of one, is Teebs does know the bone mare's in hand because obviously that's how the secret functions.
Yes.
So Teebs can make a plan for that, but I don't know how he goes about it. There's nothing here that does anything useful. You have a 0. So you have a 7/7 Doomsayer actually clears stuff up.
Well, yeah, exactly. He can interfere the bone mare, the Doomsayer.
Oh, he's going to have a million Doomsayer.
Yeah. Because now Tars either try the trades with it and loses everything.
Some of that sunshine. If that guy tells me the end of the world's close, I am not going to argue with him.
So it would require Tars to bone mare up something and trade everything in if he wanted to deal with it. So unfortunately for Tars, his best play, I think, is to just smack the face and pass.
Can Spite Ridge Steed? It's an option that he has.
That works as well, but
just to give himself a 2/6 afterwards.
Oh, sure.
Just have something hanging about.
Yeah. But 9 is what he's got on the board. 4 from the bone mare would allow him to clear the Doomsayer, meaning that only the bone mare would be alive after that. Doesn't feel nice.
I think you Steed because you want your bone mare to be of use immediately next turn.
Yep.
Challenge Teebs to have a way to get rid of it.
And Shadowwood Pain was used right at the beginning of the game, so the 2/6, in theory, would be safe. The more I think about it, the more I do like that play.
Just purely because of the tempo. Obviously, it gives up a chunk of value, but the way that you don't play it is to just give this turn up, and then next turn you play a 1/1, and then you put the Steed on it.
Okay, manipulate the secret. I like that. Bounce the Tyrant back to your hand.
Okay.
Could have actually still seeded that and gone with your play and left the 2/6 on the board, but
we can see the hand.
Yeah.
We can see there's no way for Teebs to deal with the 2/6, and actually it would have worked out really nicely for Tars.
Teebs is totally out of cards now. If he draws Shadow Reaper Anduin, does it do anything?
Don't know. I see what you mean.
It deals 4 or 6 damage.
I don't think it does enough because Tars is into the value portion of the decks. It looks like Tars has actually managed to somehow outvalue the Priest.
It looks like after this long, grueling game, you're right. Teebs has just used up too many resources.
Tars still going to need to get the job done fairly soon, though. Priest has a bit of a habit of getting the resources back bit by bit. Glimmer Root, those sort of cards do sort of swing it around, but it doesn't look good for Teebs here.
And this is the sort of situation where the lack of a card like Cabal Courier kind of hurts Teebs a little bit, because he could essentially choose the biggest card from a Cabal Courier and keep going and keep applying the pressure. He does have a Thought Steal, but actually the average minion in Tars's deck isn't big enough to make an impact. I don't think we've seen Tyrion yet, so Teebs could, in theory, Thought Steal a Tyrion and still have some way of hitting Tars in the face, but even that wouldn't be enough, it looks like.
You're going to get your wish at the end of the day by the look of it, Dan. You're going to get to see
Druid!
that class that we have hardly seen for several weeks in any Hearthstone tournament. It could well turn out to be Druid versus Paladin.
He who
which
shall not be
isn't
tamed.
the worst for Druid, for Paladin.
But Paladin, it's not, is it?
Not the worst for Paladin.
Malfurion the Pestilent may see the light of day.
I mean, if you're going to leave Druid up, your decks mustn't be the worst against Druid.
Yeah, exactly. There is a very basic logic there. You're absolutely right. And
Teebs not out of this one yet, though. I was saying priests do find ways to sneak stuff back into their hand, but there's a lot going on here for Teebs to deal with.
Is he going to get Tyrion?
That would be entertaining if he can survive
I still don't think it's enough.
Exactly.
But then what else is there? What are the cards?
They're both gone, I think.
Yeah, they've both been used. Wait, no, one has been used many times. Both may have been used, but I can't tell you that with 100% certainty.
All right, so Teebs is only this death's happening, whatever he gets. And going to make himself survive if possible. 8, 12, 15 plus some.
It's lethal. It's definitely lethal. Spike Ridge Steed plus Rallying Blade is the one I worked out, but Consecration, Saki Patari may have been relevant as well. That does it. Tars gonna tie up the series at 2-2. Okay, it's going to be Druid versus Paladin, the last game of the day for DreamHack Montreal. We are in our top 16. This is single elimination. Both of these players' career for the rest of DreamHack Montreal is now on the line.
It's going to be difficult. It's late in the day, but they haven't played that much today. They've had a long break, so as long as they looked after themselves during that long break, they should be in good position. Teebs, Jade Druid, Ultimate Infestation, the cards we just haven't seen at all on stream. Seeing it now against Tars, who has a very good-looking hand. Do you throw any of this? Do you throw the Finger and try and find a 1? I think you keep 2-2-3.
2-2-3 does seem good. I wish one of the 2s was a Hydrologist.
Sure.
But
even then, I don't know, it's a 2-3, it's hard to deal with.
Yeah, how picky can you be, really? Now, for the first time in some time, let's look at this Jade Druid deck list that we've got up in front of us. And there's nothing too exciting. Double Doomsayer is something that's been seen quite a bit recently on the ladder.
Primordial Drake's not 100% standard.
No, as a one-of, I've seen it quite a bit.
Yep.
Spellbreaker is something that's appearing in a lot of decks at the moment, but the card that interests me the most is the double Spreading Plague. Obviously, you can play those, use Doomsayer to back them up, and get a board clear out of nowhere.
Yeah, Doomsayer card that's gone in and out of this deck, but as you say, it's now played in there to back up those plagues, and you may well need those against Paladin.
Yeah.
If you can get that far. Teebs has neglected to draw any of his ramp, which is a basic Druid error.
Against a deck like this, where there are usually an onslaught of minions, but many of them will have less than 3 or 4 attack.
Right.
Spreading Plague Doomsayer is often just a 100% proc. There are cards like Sunkeeper Tarim that can mess that up a little bit, but if those 2 cards both appear in Teebs' hand and we get past turn 7, they should be able to do the thing. As it happens, Teebs, without any Wild Growths or Jade Blossoms, just feels the need to play Doomsayer now, old school style.
Old school Doomsayer, and it means that Tars has a green light to just go wide here, knowing that there's a good chance there isn't a second Doomsayer available. And Teebs is going to be all hands on deck to get rid of everything he can. Tars has a terrific hand. He did keep that Finger, anticipating having enough to do on this problematic turn 4. Has he got enough-ish?
Yeah, so he'd prefer that Redemption to be a Getaway Kodo for sure, I think, because then you could play Sunkeeper Tarim and the Getaway Kodo, get a Tyrion, end up with a better later game. My biggest concern with this matchup for Tars is actually, again, just Spreading Plague. Even without the Doomsayer, it can prevent so much damage in the short term that it can cause some real problems until the cards like Tyrion come out to play in Bone Mare.
Yeah, and the Primordial Drake kind of backs that up quite well, because even the 1 point of damage that the Spreading Plague does
becomes 3.
Become really relevant.
There it is, and again, 1 minion has 4 attack, the other 2 have 2 attack. It's going to take Tars a long time to get through these 1/5 taunts.
But he can get through them with a Finger.
Yep.
And even though Druid can deal now with wide boards because of Spreading Plague, it still can't actually get rid of them.
Yeah.
So if Finger rips out the other War Leader, this could be over in a hurry.
I mean, if Finger rips out War Leader next turn and then Tars draws Gentle Megasaur, yeah, that's the end of the game.
Yeah, and there's other things that, several iterations of that idea that can end the game.
Precisely. Okay, Teebs actually going to go for the ramp here. He had the option to play Aya or Jade Behemoth. Actually deciding he wants to get to turn 8 as soon as possible. Next turn, and you can see why. Next turn, Primordial Drake does clear all of this board, unless, as you said, a War Leader gets ripped out, 1 gets drawn.
Wow, and that's even better, because now Teebs can plot, Tars can plot how to use this to his advantage. In conjunction with the Rallying Blade, there is so much good stuff going to happen here for Tars.
What would Uther do?
Deck lists are open. He knows about the Primordial Drake possibility here. Teebs has only just drawn 1 piece of ramp in the whole game.
Teebs just played the Jade Blossom so obviously to set up for this Primordial Drake, and Murloc War Leader rips that strategy to pieces.
What would
It really does.
Because it doesn't kill anything. It just... Oh, boy.
But, I mean, there is several other options available here, including the Spike Ridge Seed. That's why Tars is taking so long.
Yep.
There are, not there is. I'm so sorry. And looks like war lead's going to happen.
Not much time left.
Going to fill the board up with Murlocs. And
a second war leader would be deadly here. That'll do.
Yeah, that's absolutely plenty. Teebs is going to need something that, like a second plague, to even delay the inevitable. That's not even going to be enough, really.
Teebs played Doomsayer and Plague very, very early. Drake, yeah, okay, it deals with the Murloc war leader, but Redemption is active. I don't think it's the war leader that gets brought back. No, it's the Hydrologist. Now, this can also get confusing for Teebs because there was a Noble Sacrifice down. And because there was a full board, Noble Sacrifice didn't prog.
Right. Teebs will work it out, I'm pretty sure. Tars so close. Teebs has had a awful draw. I'm sure that Jade Druid haters across the world are really sad about that. But it has been a particularly bad draw here. And Tars just making space to put some more Murlocs onto the board.
Another war leader is a possibility. That would be 12 damage, 1 off lethal if it comes. It doesn't come. Sorry, 11 damage.
Just trying to work out if this is the game where he kept the 2-2-3.
It was.
So one of those was the war leader. So I think he's got rid of both war leaders. I'm not 100% on that, I must admit.
Either way, the game ends right now. Tars takes it away after what looked like a very close series, something that Teebs almost got the upper hand on. We see the anti-Druid strategy win once more, with the only streamed Druid games of this tournament being losses on the Druid side. Cora, what do you have to say about that?
It's like Druid's the worst deck in the format. Pack it up, guys. We can ban Priest now.
Sure. It's all over.
No, you ban Warrior, apparently.
This, you got to give it up to Tars, because he came in here with what is the most unique strategy that we have seen.
Yeah.
And it is paying off for him in spades. He's going to the top 8. He's going to round out our top 8 that we are going to be seeing all of tomorrow, because this is going to end it for today. Some absolutely fabulous matches, 3 grueling additional rounds of Swiss after the 6 we played yesterday, and then the 4 top 16 matches that we showed you guys. Of course, 4 more did play off out on the normal convention center stage, but the 4 that we showed on stream, I think we had some really fantastic matches. Yeah. Unfortunately, Zalay is out of the tournament, but Muzzy is moving on to the top 8. We've got Hot Meowth moving on as well. Let's just check out the bracket for you all and see exactly what we are shaping up for tomorrow. So our top 8. The Rat took it over Zalay. Hot Meowth won off stream against Coach Twisted. Walla Oompa took it over Impact. Then we had Saoyan over Monsanto. Talion actually beat Terrence off stream.
The Warrior.
Yep, Terrence's Warrior could not get the win, and Talion was going to take that one. Muzzy over Sidonia in a blistering 3-0 Shaman sweep. We just saw Tars over Teebs and Insum over Iniesta off stream. That's going to be our top 8 moving into tomorrow, and we're going to have 7 matches for you tomorrow. You're going to be seeing absolutely everything that plays out from here on out. So the 4 quarterfinals, the 2 semis, and then, of course, our grand final. But that is going to do it for today. From all of us here at DreamHack Montreal, thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to tune in again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We are starting 1 hour earlier than we have today and yesterday. We will see you guys all then.